Welcome everyone. It's February 23rd, 2019, 12:01 p.m. I would like to call to order this regular board meeting of Harmony Public Schools. We have 5 board members present. Mr. Overstewart is going to join us, but he's running a bit late. He's coming from out of town, so he should be here in 20 minutes. We'll start. And Mr. Kiskin has excuse that he cannot be here. So we have 4. Do we have any public comments?
Yeah, we have 3 public comments. So just beforehand, we have 3 minutes per public comment. So once we get started, I'll start the timer. The first person is Tommy Bean Jr. So once you get to the podium, go ahead, and then we'll start that comment. Okay.
Good morning. I'm here today to speak about an incident that happened with my daughter at Harmony School of Excellence. My daughter was assaulted by another student at that school. And I went to the school administration or the school leadership to try and get a resolve with this. I came here with this morning to show that I am a concerned parent and the school system has recognized me as a concerned parent, as a star parent. When I went to the administration 4 separate times, I got the runaround. Ms. Burnham, Mr. Eggman, Mr. Costner, nobody gave this issue the attention that it needed. My daughter was not only assaulted once, she was assaulted a couple of times. And one of those times, she was choked. Now, I don't know if anybody here has any understanding of how long it takes to shut off a windpipe for someone to die, but my knowledge is it takes 90 seconds. That I take very seriously. My child could have died from being choked. But when I asked to have this investigated, as I said, I got pushed aside. This has been an ongoing issue, and there still has not been a resolve. I filed an assault charge with the Sugar Land Police Department. The information that was provided to the investigator on this case is partially falsified. So I'm here again, and I will be here continuously until this gets resolved. And in all actuality, if it had been done the way that it should have been done, I could be at home this morning eating breakfast and watching TV. But instead, I'm here trying to get someone to understand this situation and to understand how serious it is for me and my daughter's mother and the family. Thank you.
We have another speaker, Bardina Praveen, I apologize for the pronunciation. We'll have 3 minutes.
My child almost lost her life due to physical assault and bullying at the Harmony School of Excellence in Sugar Land. My 10-year-old daughter has suffered an extreme case of bullying. This includes gang-related activity, multiple cases of physical assault by the hands of various individuals, and high levels of mental and emotional abuse in the presence and with the knowledge of staff, teachers, and other students. The school, in my opinion, wants to continue to push this under the rug. We have been having meeting after meeting, but to our knowledge, no action has been taken. We were scheduled to meet with the superintendent 3 times, and coincidentally, he canceled all 3 times. December 6th, we met with the Dean of Discipline regarding the seriousness of the bullying. We were told my daughter would be watched and the students would be separated. The principal, Mr. Ekman, and the vice principal / Dean of Discipline, Ms. Burnham, assured us that my daughter would be safe to return to school. The following day, once again, my daughter was attacked by one of her bullies, being punched several times. In November, my daughter was slammed into a locker so hard she suffered a concussion. She had no recollection of what even happened or how she made it to her next class on that day. She went into the nurse's office that day, but conveniently, the school does not have record of that. Another assault was of my daughter being choked to the point of near unconsciousness. Another student helped my daughter escape being choked to death in the school restroom. My daughter has been traumatized and has gone into a deep depressive state. She is currently being seen by a psychologist. No one, especially a child, should have to undergo any type of treatment such as this. This type of behavior should have been dealt with urgently and in an effective manner by the teachers and administration at our schools. All too often, victims of bullying are coming up dead by the hands of their abusers. Children that are victims of this type of abuse many times are afraid to report these types of incidents to their parents. My daughter reported the bullying to a teacher. She was told to remind her the following day because class was about to end. I'm almost done, please. Okay, my daughter reminded the teacher the following day, yet and still the bullying continued, which leads me to believe that nothing was done. We, her parents, were not notified of anything. My daughter hid in the bathroom every morning. I just want to ask y'all to please This is not an isolated incident that occurs. I urge you to do something about the bullying attacks that are happening at Harmony Public Schools.
For public comment, Mr. Monroe. Again, like that, we'll have 3 minutes.
I'm not one to keep coming to board meetings. You can ask HISD in Fort Bend. So what I'm gonna tell you is this here. I need you to educate yourself because this is my client on David's Law. In the state of Texas, school systems and school districts are immune to lawsuits. But because of the extreme bullying that's been going on with children throughout the state of Texas, some good legislators went in 2017 and they created a law that allows us to get around the fact that you can't be sued. It's called David's Law, and it protects children against extreme bullying. Now, I sat in one of these meetings with this parent, and I listened to this administration admit that they knew about the extreme bullying. This is a 10-year-old kid that hid in a restroom to not be bullied. And I'm not talking about just, oh, your name is, no. We're talking about slamming your head on a locker to the point that you get a concussion. Now, what I want you to do is I don't want you to take me serious. I really don't want you to take me serious. HISD didn't, I crippled them. Fort Bend didn't listen. I got them on the ropes. So I don't want you to take me serious. I want you to do what you do. I want one of your members here to go to the news station like they did 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and threaten to sue the news station for doing a story on this. I want Mr. Simsek at the high school to defame my character or my name again, and I will introduce him to my lawyers. I want you not to take this serious. I want you to research David's law and understand that if there is no justice for this child, learn how to write a real big check, because we're going to sue you for everything in our power. Now, what's going to happen is people are going to see this. Kids are being abused in Harmony schools. Your enrollment is going to drop. I'm going to make sure. If you keep playing with me, saying that I'm threatening folks when I'm not, then I will call Homeland Security and tell them about all the Turkish administrators that don't have the required visas that they need. Their visas are expired. I don't say things just to say them. I got the information. So now it's time for you to make a decision. Do we stand up for the child that's inside of our school every day? Do we protect them when they come to school? If not, you don't have to do anything. But I can promise you this. I'm not going to keep coming to these meetings talking to you. At all. I'm done. All right, thank you.
Thank you. So with that, our first item is the Texas Academic Performance Reports, TAPR, public hearing for all HPS charges.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jason Yağcı. I'm the Director of Accountability in All Harmony Public Schools. I'm here to present the public hearing for Texas Academic Performance Report for all 7 our districts. Let's start because my presentation a little long. This is public hearing. On this annual report in 2017-18, it's required, Texas required to do this board of trustee presentation and open to public. I'm going to present the Texas Academic Performance Reports, PIMS financial standard reports. All these are included for each district, and district accreditation status, campus performance objectives, which we're gonna also publish all this on our website, and also information on violence and criminal incidents, and the information on performance of previous year graduates in their first year at college. Each district board of trustees must hold public hearing to discuss this annual report. That's why we are here. First one is the big part of this presentation is the Texas Academic Performance Report, which is based on actually our state test performance. These are also available on TA website. It's open to public. Anyone can go and download those for campus-based or district-based reports. And also, I'm gonna summarize the financial actual reports, which is 2016-17 academic years, not 17-18, which is a little, we are on this one is those reports presenting total revenue, as the net assets, total expenditures, and also the expenditures according to programs, and also the program intent codes. And also on these reports, there's also accreditation status that's also available on TA website. It's anybody can go and check those. It's 2017 first, which is the financial integrity rating system for Texas, and also 2017 accountability rating, which we're going to present, and also 2017-18 accreditation status. On annual report includes also school performance objective, which we're going to post those on our website, and also on report violent and or criminal incidents. These includes the number of rates of the violence of criminal incidents occur on each campus, and also the total districts. Those are also available on the TA website, which is the Safe and Healthy Schools. We are going to present also today our high school kids, data, which is the after the graduation, 1 year graduation, and enrolling the colleges. I would like to explain on that data is if there's a data less than 25 and less students, there's no data. It's not presented on TA website also. And also there is also non-trackable number of students you will see on that report, which is actually if the student doesn't have a standard Texas ID, generally it's not trackable because those are local school ID. So each school district has their own way to give the ID for those students. So those are maybe not trackable. There's also another option there on the graduate is not found. Those are the students generally enrolled on the colleges or universities outside of Texas. Before starting on those 7 our district's numbers, I like to present our public school, our Harmony demographics last year, 2017-18, and to compare with our Texas state. As you can see, our educational, economically disadvantaged students number is higher than the Texas state, and also our ESL students, number of ESL students enrolled. Our schools are significantly higher than Texas state, and special ed students is a little lower than the state of Texas. Any questions so far? I want to go fast. If you guys have any question, let me know, and we can visit. Yes?
Just in the previous slide, you asked if you have questions in the previous slide.
This one?
What is the criteria?
These are the graduate students' data.
Not trackable and not found. How do they?
Not trackable means that some of our students they don't have a social security number. So they school assign a number, school number. So those are generally not trackable. So when they go to college or university, it's not trackable by the higher education data. Okay, let's start with our one of our Houston district, Harmony School of Excellence. It's generally we call Houston North area, and the district number is 101858. Okay, first of all, I would like to briefly give what is the demographic codes on that district. We have almost 5,000 students enrolled in that school. Those are again last year numbers. And economically disadvantaged student number is 61.1%, and total staff on that our district is 369. If you look at the experience of our teachers, beginner teachers are almost 11%, and 1 to 5 years experienced teachers is 54%. Student enrollment by program, bilingual or ESL, is 21%. As you guys remember, state average is 18.8%. Special education enrollment is 6.3%. Ethnical distribution, Hispanic is almost 40%, African American 17%, and Asian is almost 13%. Let's look at the numbers. There are district performance on STAR test. The first column is, these are going to be similar to the all district. I would like to explain here what I put here. The first one is the included all subjects on the first graph column, let's say, and those are the approach. Approach means the student who passed those tests. Those are also including MITS and the master students. So 81% of this district is passed. And the first column actually is the state number percentage, which is 77% for the state. And the second one is mid, as you can see, 53% for this district and 48% for the state. And the second part of this graph is including the progress. As you guys maybe know that last year TA changed the STAR test, how can I say, the evaluation, which we have now 3 domains. One is the student performance, the other one is school progress, the other one is the closing the gaps. So that's why I include the second part is progress. How the kids are progressing, all grade levels, the first column, which is showing the state first one, 61%, 71%. And also I include the 2 major subject course, which is ELA and math.
Refresh my memory on closing the gaps.
Yeah, closing the gaps is the third domain, which is 30% of that, the accountability ratings, which I didn't include here because it has more data, because they are looking to all different demographics, let's say the race, and also ESL students, also special ed students, and the state has a kind of specific criteria or the percentage we supposed to meet. And each district, they're looking each those subgroups. If they pass that percentage, for example, all students supposed to pass 40% or more in ELA. If the district pass, they get 1 point. So they are collecting all those data. There's like 5 different subcategories. I can show those one of our districts here when we have time, or I can do another presentation for you guys to explain all those 3 domains. It's take time. It's maybe probably a couple hours we need to go into those details, but I try my best to summarize here just a couple domains to show here.
Okay, so the 22, you got 22, which is for the state, and 25%, which is actually showing for Harmony, is that correct?
Yeah, this is the specific one district, which is the Harmony School of Excellence. Yeah, not the whole Harmony. Again, I'm doing 7 districts.
That's fine, I understand that. What's that compared against? We have 25%, what was it before that?
Again, this is the first time we using, because before that we had 4 different, the domains. This is the first time actually TA implementing this new 3 domain system.
Understood.
But still we have those numbers. Actually, it's on the TARP report, actually.
There's another slide you have that shows.
Yeah, actually, next slide is going to show actually the post-secondary readiness, which is mostly related with our high school performance of our kids. As you can see, graduating in 4 years is, state average is 89%, almost 90%. Our district is almost 100% are graduating in 4 years. And college-ready graduate, this is the kind of the criteria they are using in TA. And both subject means ELA and math. Those are the general major subject. As you see, state average is almost 38%, but our district, this district is 77%, almost double. And the second one is AP, Advanced Placement courses. State participation or enrollment for this specific group is 26%, but for this district is almost 43%. And for this test, if they got 3, 4, or 5 the points on those tests, they got the the college credit, and that's why it's examined criterion, which is state got about half of them, but for this our district is 74%. And SAT test, almost 73.5% of the state students, the graduates, take those tests, but for our district is all our students took that exam.
I have a question. So you're saying that
Yes.
this is just on the number that take the test, not the scores, and not the...
Which one? This one? This is just the number of students take that test.
so it's the
This
same
is the actually the average of those.
Okay. Because I was going to say, I don't believe you, it was like a test score of 100% that they'll get it right.
Yeah, of course.
My daughter did not get hers right.
Okay. Well, again, these are the tests. They don't get, right or wrong. They got the score, at least.
No, but I'm good. You're saying that it's just the people that...
Yeah, exactly. Taking the test just before graduating.
Every student, senior level, correct?
No, all students. Sorry, it's class 2017, which is the graduate. Senior, yeah, for the senior.
We know we have some 9, 10 grade.
Yeah, it's not for SAT, yeah. You're right. Yeah, these are graduates 2017. This is the summary of, also this is the TA website. I just, copy from that. This is our accountability rating summary, which is as you see here, 3 domains. Academic achievement is the first domain, main domain, 40%. It's coming from that part. The school progress is 30%, and the closing gap is the 30%. Those are a little detailed numbers for this district. The component score, don't confuse those with that. You have to look at the next one, which is the scale score. It's maximum is 100. So as you see, almost all subgroups this did pretty well, and they get A. Overall score is A. And also they got also post-secondary readiness earned for this district. Again, I'm going a little fast because we have 7 of them like this. This is the annual report. It's going to include also financial data, which is 2016-17 numbers, not 17-18. The total revenue for this district is almost $42 million. And almost more than 62% of that money goes to payroll. And accreditation status, this school district got first rating is A superior. All our district actually got that. And accountability rating is math standards, or 2018 accountability rating is A. Let me explain this one, because this year TA, because using new accountability system, only district get A or B or C. The campuses just get the math standards this year. But next year, they will start getting also, similar to district, they will get A, B, C, D, or F. None of our schools get, actually, if you look at our scores, none of them get F this year. And our schools are accredited. And the next kind of table is the summary of this district graduates that I mentioned. As you see on this district, we have just one campus had the graduate in 2016-17 school year. And 63 of them went to 4 years, 21 of them went to 2-year public colleges, other one went to maybe private colleges, 3 of them. As you see, non-trackable is 9. 9 students are non-tracked by this system. And the total graduate is 122. Any question on this slide?
What's the difference between non-trackable and non-found?
Okay. Non-trackable is some of our students, they don't have social security. So we generally assign like local school ID numbers. So those are when they go to another college, it's not trackable by the TA or the higher education data. So those are not trackable, unfortunately. Non-found is, those are generally the students who went to other universities out of Texas State. Generally, they don't track those, or maybe some of the schools, they don't share those data. These are generally shared by our Texas State universities and colleges. Again, as I mentioned, we are going to publish all those annual reports on our website under the academics and accountability website. And it's going to be available for campus and here as well. And next district is our El Paso district. Again, I'm going to go through about 7 slides. This is the first one, is the demographics. We have almost 3,500 students enrolled at school last year, and 67% of those students as economically disadvantaged. One of the things I like to explain here, because that's the important number here, most of our schools has, highly economically disadvantaged population. Those are actually advantage for us to get higher ratings on those, accountability tests, because those get extra credits. Total staff is 302.3. Let me explain. 0.3 is the, some of the staff is working half time. That's why those are the state numbers. So that's why I didn't round it. So I put it the exact number there. So so they work part time or partially in our schools. And on this campus, as you can see, beginner teachers, which is the first year, 8.5, and 1 to 5 is 60%. Bilingual, interestingly, this is El Paso district, but don't confuse with that, because we have also campus in Lubbock and Odessa included in this district. That's why maybe you guys wondering, this is El Paso, but ESS students are low because of Lubbock and Odessa campus also in this district. Special education is 9.2. Ethnic population, as you can see, Hispanic is 70%, and white is almost 24%. Let's look at our district performance on the STAR test for this district. As you can see, all subject area is 80% above our Texas average. And math score is close to state, and master is 21%. And progress on those, all grade level is 72%. Our students are progress or improved, that means progress. And in reading is 68%, but math we did pretty good. In this district is 77%. Let's look at the post-secondary readiness for this district, class of 2017 graduates. As you can see, all students graduate in 4 years that year. And college readiness, 65%, which is almost double of the state average. AP course participation, almost 53%. And exam passing rate is 60%, that's a great number. And the SAT participation, again, 100% for this. And the average of SAT score is above state average. Again, this is El Poso, Lubbock, and Odessa schools, which is actually way higher than the other schools in that locations. This is the summary of accountability ratings, and as you can see, this school also got the post-secondary readiness, and they did a great job, and their overall score is 94 points, which is really high for this district. And economic disadvantage, as you see, is 67%, almost 10% higher than state average. Any question on this? I don't want to go to each of them, but I can do this maybe, go over each, subgroups here, do another presentation. But on this one, I'm just briefly giving you these numbers.
As a reminder, so when we are calculating the scale score, Professor, I remember you explained to us it is maximum of.
Yeah. Here, let me explain that. In elementary schools, they don't have those two. Why? Because they don't have college-going graduates or graduate rate. So in elementary school, if our school is K through 5 or 8, in first domain, our school just get the star performance, which is the 40% of that. And the second part is school progress. In school progress, we have two criteria. One is academic growth, which they looking the improvement. If one student was just approached last year, but next year they go to next level, which is the master level, or
I think, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
He's asking about not the percentage under student achievement. There is a percentage under student achievement, but then we take the higher of student achievement and school progress. I think that was your question, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we take the higher of student achievement and school progress, and then that together, those two together is 70%, and closing the gaps is 30%.
Here's the example. As you see, 84, 94. This is high. So this 94 goes to here because it's higher than this one. So this score, overall, the second domain score is 94. Then they look at the 94 and 91. Which one is higher? This one. So they took 94. So 94 became actually 70% of the overall score and 30% of this. And this is both of them 94. So overall is again 94. Annual reports, actual financial data is almost $32.5 million. Again, almost 64% of those money goes to payroll. And accountability ratings, again, accreditation status, again, for this district is A, first rating, superior, and MET standards. Accountability rating is A. And this district also earned the post-secondary readiness. And let's look at these numbers. On this district, we have only one campus, had the graduate in 2016-17 years. 26 of them went to four-year college, and unfortunately on this graduate also we have 6 of them non-trackable and 10 of them not found. Maybe they went to out of country or another state, enrolled to the colleges. Again, these reports will be available before March 9. I'm going to post those on the website. Let's look at the WACO, which is our biggest district. The name is WACO, but only we have 2 campuses in that. Yes?
This is the third one, right?
Yes.
Can we speed up the process because we have a full agenda?
Okay.
Go through them and then this.
Okay. If you guys have any questions.
Like the board members will start.
Okay.
But this is a public hearing, so we have to, everyone should have access to copy. We have access to this presentation as well.
Mhm.
And just for this time management sake,
Sure.
we just, I think it was good that you explained the first two.
Mhm.
It's clear to us. But the remaining five, if we can.
Sure. I'll speed up. This district, our biggest district, we have almost 9,651 students. Total staff is almost 709, and the economically disadvantaged number is 57%. Let's look at the performance. Our overall percentage of this district is 78% compared to state 77%. And progress, if you look at the progress, all of them is above the state average. Let's look at the post-readiness, post-secondary readiness numbers. Graduate students are above state average. College readiness, again, more than double of the state average. AP results are also good for this district. And the average of SAT scores is above state average. Let's look at the accountability rating for this district. It's again A. We have seven districts, and 6 of them is A. Only one of our district is B. Annual report. The total revenue for this district is about $93 million. 63% go to payroll payments, and the first rating is again A, superior, and the accountability rating is A, and all it's going to be again on our website. On this district, we have 6 campuses had a graduate in 16-17. Those are the numbers. If you guys have any questions, specific question, please let me know.
How many campuses in this district?
Last year, 15. Mm-hmm. This year, we opened one school in Grand Prairie. And let's look at our Austin district. Our Austin district almost has 4,000 students last year. Economically disadvantage is 44.3%, which is the lowest among our districts. Total staff is almost 316 personnel working on this district. And bilingual is the highest in this district, almost 35%, higher than all other districts. Interesting. Okay, these are the performance of this district, and it's close to state average, especially progress. They're doing way better than the previous year. As you can see, they are all progressing in English and math, but on the approach and meetings, they're pretty close or same with state average. And let's look at the post-secondary readiness. Those are the 2017 graduates. As you can see, all of them is above state average. This is our ratings. As I mentioned, we have one district rated B, which is the Austin district, but they barely missed that A, which is 89. Their overall score is 89. They have 2 campuses had a graduate in 2016-17 years. Those are the graduate numbers. And their financial revenue is actually 2 years ago, is almost 38 million. Again, similar to our district is almost 63% went to payroll. Again, this report will be available on our website. Now let's look at our San Antonio district. This district has had 4,328 students last year. They have the highest economically disadvantaged population, which is almost 76% on this district. Total staff is 370. And their bilingual or ESL student population also one of the highest, which is almost 26%. Now let's look at their STAR test results. Again, overall result is very close to, as you can see, very close to state, some of them better. Post-secondary readiness numbers are again way above the higher than the state average.
This is how do we enforce this 100%? Is it a college requirement, graduation requirement in our system?
The SAT,
SAT.
we do have an SAT school day. We administer the test.
But can a student opt out? Let's say I don't want to take it. How do we enforce it?
They all take.
No one has ever asked for it.
It's not 100%. Some of districts are not 100%.
So far we see 100%. That's fine. Okay.
Close. Yeah, one of them 98%.
Pardon, high school graduate requirements, taking SAT or college, getting to college, it's not.
Well, they take them in 11th grade and also 12th grade, so there are two opportunities. But they take them at one time in their,
Like, you will catch it. Okay.
There's no escape.
Most parents and students see this as an advantage, since we are paying for it and it's happening on school day, they don't have to rely somewhere else.
Promotion.
So if they scare the parents starting in 9th grade, they start
Yeah.
scaring them about it.
Yeah.
Your house and get your child.
Exactly.
Good.
This is the overall summary of accountability rating for San Antonio district. This district also has A rating. This district had 3 campuses had a graduate in 2017. Those are the numbers. And total revenue for this district almost $37 million and close to 63% again used for payroll. The report is available on our website soon. Next district is Harmony Science Academy, which is our first district. It's located in Houston South area. They had 3,434 students last year, and economically disadvantaged rate is the one of the highest, as you see, for 76%. Total staff member is 286.5. And ESL student on this district also higher than the most of our district is 25%. Let's look at the kind of the comparison of this district with the state average. As you can see, approach level, approach student number percentage is higher than state. MIT's also higher. Master is a little lower than state average, but if you look at the progress in reading and math or all grade levels, it's way higher than the state average. And post-secondary readiness, the graduates of this campus district is pretty close or higher than the state average.
So what about the SAT score, though?
That's a little lower, yes. It's lower than Texas State. I think that district needs to work on that.
I think participation rate in every one of our students take, knowing that some of them are going to lower the average.
You're right.
Doesn't matter how they will score this term, and they take it. But comparing the state, they only have 73.
But this so far has been the only district with the
Correct.
lower one.
Overall accountability rating for this district also A. This district has 2 campus graduated in 2016-17. Those are the number of students. And again, annual report for this district will be available on our website. Let's look at, I think this is my last one. Last district, this is a Harmony School of Science, which we call Houston West District, one of our smallest district. This total students enrolled last year on this district is 3,432. Economically disadvantaged population is 48.7. Total staff is 261. And if you look at the ESL numbers are almost 16%. And beginner teachers numbers is high, which is almost 10%, more than 10%. Katy and Sugar Land campuses are in this district, yeah. But if you look at our star results for this district, is maybe the best district we have.
You have a lot of Asians in this one.
Who knows? Yeah, depends. Approach numbers are way higher than the state average, 90%, and the Meds Masters are also higher than state average. Progress is a little low because progress means they did also well last year. If they do this year same thing, they don't get points. So that's why progress a little not that high as like this results. Let's look at the post-secondary readiness. It's way higher than the state average, as you can see. And accountability rating. I think, as far as I remember, maybe this district is the highest in Houston area. So 96 point is the highest district scores in Houston area. As you can see, all subgroups, they got A. And they had two campuses, had a graduate a couple of years ago, 17-18, Sugarland and Katy School. These are the numbers of graduates on colleges. And again, these are all going to be available on our website before March 9th. This is the final slides on my public hearing. Any question before I'm ending my presentation?
Do you, not for us, but internally, I know this is a public hearing, do you internally compare, like here, I know that we're supposed to compare with Texas, but since Texas, the plane comes to the whole Texas, it averaged down some of the patterns. So do you internally compare a district, a Harvard district with a local district, another charter or local district that, let's say, in Fort Lee or let's say, I don't know.
We're working actually a study right now. We're comparing the neighbor schools. We took to each campuses and about 8 to 10 the closest schools, charter school or public school, we're getting there also the test result and comparing. We are working on that right now, yeah. Hopefully we'll finish that this semester. Maybe we'll do presentation on that. So, yeah, definitely, yeah.
Thank you. Any questions, comments? But what's the role of average SAT scoring grade? What's the role?
SAT are part of it. There is 6 different criteria they use in the post-secondary readiness. So SAT is one of them, not just one. Because they use also TSI scores or ACT scores as well, and also the AP scores, and also they use also the STAR test results as well. If they have a higher, they get also extra points on those. Any other question? Thank you so much for your patience.
Consideration of student expulsion appeal from Harmony School of Finance and Technology. I'm going to read the next one because we'll do something different this time. We'll go closed session for both of them, but let me read. And then, so at this time, it is 12:51 p.m. We're going to go into closed session for this item and consideration of staff grievance appeal from Harmony Science Academy. Fluid wheel. So in accordance with Texas Government Code, Chapter 551.082 and 551.081, that's the first item. And for the employee grievance, for Chapter 551.074. So we'll do one closed session for both, but we'll not take any action. We'll come back to regular session. So, all right, so it's 1:23 p.m. We are back to regular session. In closed session, we discussed both items number 5 and number 6, and we haven't taken any action. So for the item number 5, do we have for the student expulsion appeal? Do we have any motion?
I make a motion to uphold the student expulsion from Harmony School of Fine Arts and Technology, which is number 5 on the agenda.
Okay, anyone second it? Second.
You're denying the appeal. You're upholding and denying the appeal. Yes, upholding the appeal.
You should upholding the decision, administration decision and denying the appeal. Okay, so the motion is upholding the administration decision and denying the appeal. Everyone in favor say aye. Aye. It's approved. Thank you. So the next item is item number 6 that we also discussed in closed session. Do we have a motion on that?
I make a motion that the board upholds the staff grievance deny the staff grievance appeal from Harmony School Science Academy, Pflugerville, and uphold the decision as made.
Okay, and anyone seconding this motion? Okay, seconded. So everyone in favor of approving this motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. They are approved. Thank you, everyone. So our next action item is the consent agenda. As you know, we consider and want to consider it as a one item. But Mr. I just informed you that we are going to table out the school calendar approval for the next meeting. So consent agenda currently have only the approval of previous board meetings.
There is nothing urgent in the academic calendar.
We are fine.
So do we have a motion for the consent agenda?
I make a motion for the approval of consent agenda.
Okay, anyone second?
Second.
Everyone in favor of approving consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's approved. Our next item is a review of quarterly unaudited financial statements of December 31st, 2018.
So I'll just make it short and sweet then. So we don't need to go over all the numbers. Okay, if you want, I'll be happy to review all the numbers with you, but we already did it in the finance committee. Yeah. So let's make it short and sweet. The good news is in 6 months we have $8 million net asset change. So when you just look at here, you will see $8.3 million net asset change in 6 months. So it was $4 million last year. So, I mean, we are in a good shape. All our clusters can reach their goal, financial goal. So we don't need to worry about anything. So when you look at our total expenditure, we have the same expenditure when you compare our current year's data with last year. But when you look at our revenue side, we have $4 million more than last year. So at the end, it creates $8 million net asset change in 6 months. So if we have the same trend, there's a possibility that it will be around $14–15 million net asset change in 1 year. But of course, I mean, we cannot know the attitude of our clusters in 6 months. So, but at least I can easily say we will do much better than last year. If you have any question, I am happy to assist you. Okay. And our total net assets, last year it was $62 million, and this year it is $77 million. So in 1 year, we have $15 million net asset change. Our total liabilities was $512 million, and it's right now $522 million. And our total asset is $524 million. So, if you have any question, I'll be happy to assist you. Otherwise, we can just move to the next agenda item.
No. Please go ahead. We need to announce the next item before you move. Is there any question on this review item? No. All right, thank you for this presentation. Our next agenda item is review of quarterly board investment report of December 31st, 2018.
I mean, different than last year, and we notice
interest change this year, so that's why when you compare our interest earning with the last year, it was around $1.2 million last year. This year it will be around $2.3 million. So normally our surplus goal is around $7 million. $0.6 million of that amount is coming from our interest earnings. So which means that we are just lowering our surplus goal of our school districts. So we are providing more revenue to our schools. So this year it will be $2.3 million additional funding for our schools. So also in this page you can see the summary. Just for these 3 months we have 400K interest revenue, and we don't expect any more increase in the interest rates. So we are planning to have long term. Normally in some investment we were keeping them for 3 months. So starting from next month we will make it for 9 months long term investment, since we don't expect any more interest increase. Okay. If you have any question, I can help you. We always differentiate our investments to be sure that we have the lowest risk we have. So we have several, in the report you can see the distribution of our investments. Sorry for that. In the next page. So as a total we have $80 million in the investment funds, and around $63 million are unrestricted and $70 million they are restricted, and we are using commercial paper, agency bonds, treasury bonds, certificate of deposit and repo. In that report, since there is no dramatic change from the last report, so it's almost the same, minor changes. So if you don't have any question, we can move forward.
So when you make these decisions, like you said, we make sure we diversify any other decision. We are using external consultants.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Present to us.
Yes.
All right. So we also had some questions which we asked to the finance committee. So I do not have any other questions. If anyone else has a question, we can entertain it. Otherwise, this is not an approval item. We'll move to the next item.
Is there any limit for investment for our school system or in general? Because we have the money, but other limits.
We are using the top-rated companies. So let's say when you look at the report, last page, you will see.
Like percentage, how much you can invest?
Minimum limit and upper limit of percentage of our budget, like 80 million is like around 400 million budget is.
So basically what we are doing is we don't use our budget for investment. The purpose of the budget is the operation. We are using all our money in the operation, but after the year, we cannot use the last year's money for the current year's expenditure. So you need to keep them in a bank as cash. So what you need to do is you need to make short-term investment. So normally we need to have 100 days cash in hand to have any type of risk. So what we are doing is we are just using it as a short term. So 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, to be sure that we can easily just make it cash. So if there is any emergency, what you will do is you will just we'll just maybe lose our investment interest portion, but we can just talk with the bank and just get our cash back. So currently we have $80 million in the investment, but I mean next year, based on the need of so let's say there's a cluster for operational, they need maybe $2 million but they have $5 million in their bank account. So what we are doing is we are just moving the $3 million to their investment account. It will depend on our decision, our executive decision, depend on the need of the cluster, so they will not have any problem, cash problem. But it's very flexible, so it's a really short-term investments, but it creates $2.3 million additional revenue for our schools.
I have we are getting some advice from some investment consultants.
Yes.
Correct?
Yeah.
So are we have just single consultant, or like we are getting input from a few of them?
Actually, we have financial advisor. We have also working with the banks. They are comparing all the data. So when we are getting, let's say, investment. So what we are doing, we are getting at least 3 different rates from 3 different banks to be sure that we are getting the best benefit from our investments. So we don't just accept interest rate from a bank. So let's say what we are doing is, we are getting from Wells Fargo, and we are using the top companies or top banks to be sure that we are safe. So if we notice any type of decrease in the rating, we don't invest them. So we are comparing all the data and get a recommendation from our financial advisors as well.
So who is our financial advisor? Is it a consultant?
Ms. Akıldız.
Is it someone working for us?
Yes. Drew Master.
What's that?
Drew Master.
I'm not asking the name. Is that a person working for us?
It's a company. It's a well-known company. Yeah. Yes, third party. Yeah.
He came to our board meeting a year ago. He did a presentation in the university. He's been working with us for 3-4 years.
Have we been working with that fellow?
5 years?
Close to 4 years.
4 years. 4 years.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Akıldız, for this board investment report.
Ms. Akıldız.
As a teacher, I tested you if you're following or not. All right, so you are following. You're not so good. All right, so the next item is review and consider approval of resolution of investment policies and strategy and HPS investment policy updates.
It's our routine. Every year we are bringing to your attention to our policy, investment policy. There's not too many change, just minor changes. The main change is the broker section. So we are just adding broker. I think it is. So I think page 4, you will see specific explanation about the broker. So since when we are making an investment, banks also using broker. So we add Wells Fargo. In the investment process, Wells Fargo is using brokers. So that's why we add broker. It's a recommendation from our attorney. So it's the main difference, and also so mainly it's about the broker.
So changing one or adding one institution, financial institution, requires a policy change, or just because we were changing the policy we added them? Normally,
It's not a requirement for charter schools, but since yes, and normally most of them doesn't apply to us, but we just want to inform you, and we create a system. So based on the regular ISTs, they are bringing to your attention. So let's say we add Wells Fargo as an investment bank, and normally it is not a requirement, but we just bring your attention. Even for the training, we add another state university to get, it is normally, it's a 10-hour requirement for our investment officers. we just provide the resolution to you. I mean, it's a really minor detail, but I mean, for the investment, for ISCs, we need to just inform you. It's the policy, but we can just modify if it's an extra item for you. But
this is good, and appreciate the format because this format shows the change, and you also have a clean copy that shows the final format.
I mean, it looks like there are too many changes, but the same attorney, I mean, changing the typo and other things. So the main change in this policy is just the broker section.
Right.
I mean,
in the section just above the Texas Government Code 2256.010A, I think that was on page 4 of the document. You've actually added, I'm assuming because it's in red that was added, is that correct? Right there, just above the, where it said secured in accordance with Government Code Chapter 2257. Go up, right here. But that was added, is that correct?
yes.
Okay, is that new in terms of that particular code being in existence, or is that a new code?
I don't think it's a new code, right? It's an existing code.
Okay, so it was just added then?
Yeah.
In the past, it was vague.
It was vague, yeah.
Reference to the code, so that people would understand.
Yeah, which is fine.
But I mean, it reviewed last year with our attorney. The same person reviewed the same policy and made too many changes.
We know how these things are, right?
Yeah.
This is my clarification. This was.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So this is an action item. We are updating or we are considering approving these changes to investment policies and strategies and policy updates. So we need a motion.
It's, I
I
mean,
make a motion to approve the resolution and investment policy strategy and ACS investment policy.
Okay, everybody in favor of approving this motion, say aye.
Aye.
It's approved. The next item is review and consider the approval of awarding contracts for e-rate services, RFP number 190009602.
let me invite Dr. Bayer for that item.
Good afternoon. My name is Mehmet Bayar. I am Purchasing Director. And generally, I present these bids to the Finance Committee. But at that time, I bring this to your attention because of the federal, timeline. There was very rigid timeline. So because of that, just we reviewed in our previous Finance Committee. And here is the evaluation report of the E-rate services procurement. The bidding is done by the Region 12, which is our E-rate consultant, and all the RFP package and the bid process is done, and the proposals are collected by the Region 12. And as Purchasing Department, we just did the evaluation process of these proposals with the TASBO. And by the way, Ms. Stevenson from the TASBO, she is here also for any questions for the evaluation process. And so there were two major components in this bidding. One is the category one is the data transmission and also internet services. And there are three subcategories under this. Second category is the networking tools and the services. And there are 7 subcategories under this service. And these are all IT terminology. So I'm not an IT guy. But there are the switches, firewall, or UPS, cabling, like that. And proposals are evaluated based on the evaluation criteria, which is released in the bid package. And the evaluation committee is created by the E-rate department and IT department. And also Mr. Kaba from IT department is here for any question about these categories and the RFP package. And so evaluation process is done based on each subcategory, because vendors are proposed their prices for each subcategory, and each subcategory is evaluated independent than other categories. So all the details are provided in this report, and so based on these evaluation criteria and evaluation scores, Comcast is recommended for the least lead fiber WAN service, and AT&T is recommended for the load balancing internet service, and EM3 networking is recommended for the least lead fiber for the new campus of the HSA Cyprus. And these are for the internet services. And for the networking tools, NetSync is recommended for switches, components, and firewall and components. Weaver is recommended for UPS and components for data center. And NetSync is recommended for UPS and components for campuses, and also cabling and connectors, including installation. InSource is recommended for wireless controller management and other equipment. And HyperNetwork is recommended for the installation of switch, UPS, and project management. So again, we did this evaluation with the TASBO. And Regina, would you like to?
Again, the evaluation was very thorough. I think that this leaves Harmony in an excellent position to recover money through E-rate funding, because you will be able to select line by line or section by section what best meets the needs of the organization, which is what the position you want to be in when you're looking at potential E-rate funding.
Where does the software licenses and servicing go? Is it the same thing under this one, or this is just for this hardware?
Actually, some of them includes software, but I think Mr. Kaba can answer this question.
Like for access points, we are changing the system, moving to smart zone, which the controller will be over here, and it will control all access points. So that's our goal. And license upgrade included in the pricing. Some switch upgrades will be necessary for certain schools. Also, in category 1, we are doing the ELAN connection. So currently, all campuses have 1 gig internet connection at each location. We have contract with Charter, Spectrum Enterprise Company, until June 2020. So the first item in category 1, which is fiber WAN, is just a data transfer switch between campus and here, which is like 65% cheaper. So we are going to provide the connection from each district office to the schools. We are piloting it in Houston South, that's 12 location to pilot it this year, and we are going to implement it every other school following it.
As any of this has anything to do with the data center?
Yes. The second item in category 1, we are getting load balancing internet for data center, which will be 10 gig for Houston location and 5 gig for Austin. Also, it's going to be a backup internet for us. E-rate covers that if it is load balancing, which we are using for that purpose. And this internet also will provide connection for the phone system as well. We are centralizing that phone system as well.
And E-rate is a federal money that covers all of it or some portion?
Actually, 80%. 80% we pay 20%. You get reimbursement from the E-rate of 80%.
All right, any other questions? So we need a motion to approve this item then?
So I'm going to make a motion that we approve the award of contracts with E-rate services RFP, number 190009602.
Okay, everyone in favor of approving this motion, say aye. 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 It's approved. Thank you, Dr. Vaya. The next item is consider approval and ratification of the minutes and actions of the Finance Committee meeting on February 8, 2019.
Good afternoon one more time. Finance Committee meeting was held on February 8, 2019, 1:30 p.m. at the Central Office Austin Room. 5 committee members were present. We had 4 review items and 2 approval items. The committee reviewed quarterly financial statements, investment report, E-rate services procurement, investment policy updates. The committee approved School of Science and Technology contract amendment, the construction bid award for the HPS roof refurbishment project. The total amount for the project was $410K. It was for Brian and Nature Campus. It was a short and sweet meeting. So if you have any question.
All right, is everybody ready?
Yes, ma'am.
This is the most exciting part of your day.
Yes, ma'am.
ELA textbooks. So, and as I was already asked, yes, there is a quiz after this, so be prepared to answer some questions.
There's an essay.
Okay, so Ms. Bell is just going to talk about the ELA, how the adoption process came about, and if you have anything you need to ask as we go, please raise your hand, throw a question out. We're always ready for questions. And we actually have our vendors here as well. We have 2 representatives from Houghton Mifflin Harcourt that are here to fill in any gaps that we may not be able to answer. So they're here as representatives and to also show how much they love Harmony.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for that introduction. I
anytime.
appreciate that. So actually, before I move on, I just wanted to say on February 8th, our academic committee board heard an overview of our entire process, of our rubric results, and our final decision, and then has recommended moving forward to this board for approval. So our core team for this process was myself and Ms. Olson. She is the K-5 director for elementary English language arts, and then Ms. Oz Ekman, who is the ESL director, so we worked very closely with her. In addition to Ms. Malloy, IM director, and also Ms. Woodard, whose title is?
She's the IM coordinator.
IM
so
coordinator,
she's with
thank
me.
you.
Yes.
And then also, like Ms. Malloy mentioned, our reps from HMH. So this slide provides an at-a-glance view of our primary tasks for each month of this school year so far. So in August, we were analyzing new standards, drafting our timeline for this process. We were forming committees. We went to conferences and vendor fairs. And then that moved into work in October that was really focused on our rubrics. We used 2 different rubrics and went through a process of creating the rubric and then soliciting feedback from our team to see if we should change our rubric before actually putting it into practice. And so we did that with both Rubric 1 and Rubric 2. We attended a showcase at HCDE in October. November was the National Council for Teachers of English annual convention, and it was actually in Houston this year. So we were able to bring almost 40 Harmony teachers to this national, very renowned National English Conference. And there was a Texas strand within the conference, and all of that was geared to the changes that are coming with the new standards. We held a product demo. We had 3 product demo meetings here at Harmony in November, and then we revised our second rubric at that point in time so that we could launch our rubric 2 for a full month evaluation window with our team from December to January. So that took us into January. We were reviewing and analyzing the results from the rubric, and then and that brings us to the current month. March, April, and May will consist of planning and training and ordering products. This is another view, just like bullet point view of our process throughout the year, just some of the same things that I just mentioned, just reviewed again. So we analyzed the new standards with our teams. We established our committees and made timelines. We started drafting our rubrics. We went to conferences and workshops and vendor fairs. We hosted product demo meetings and revised our rubrics that was based on our feedback from the committee. Rubric 1 we used with our ELA sort of like leadership team. So it was a smaller group, but then Rubric 2 was open to everyone. Any ELA teacher, instructional coach, director of academics, dean of academics, principal, superintendent across the whole Harmony system. And that Rubric 2 was open for a full month. Like I said, those were the people who were able to contribute to the feedback with Rubric 2. And then we analyzed our results and discussed the results with our textbook adoption committee. So I wanted to just emphasize that this was a collective decision. Rubric 1, again, was reviewed by, or was created by our team and then utilized by our leadership team of coaches and system course leaders and curriculum writers. It had a more shallow view, Rubric 1 did, and that was because the expectation for our team was to complete that review in just one sitting. And so it couldn't be as detailed as what we used for Rubric 2 when we had a window open for a much longer period of time for them to actually comb through the resource more deeply. And we had about 240 unique reviews on Rubric 2. This is a glance of what Rubric 2 looked like. So you can see the focus on the strands, the new strands for English language arts. There are 7. And so as I mentioned, we had to do a deeper analysis, and that's what this rubric allowed us to do, to determine what degree the new standards have been supported by this resource. And so our team, not just our team, but people who used this rubric, so anyone in Harmony who was willing to provide feedback for this rubric, they evaluated 29 components that all came from the new standards organized by the strands. Yes?
You said you collected 240 reviews?
240 unique reviews, yes.
How many were sent out originally?
How many were sent?
How many were you expecting?
That's a really good question, only because I wasn't sure how many to expect, simply because we left it open to the whole system. Of course, math teachers were not allowed to review, or math coaches or science coaches. So they had to be, if they were a teacher or an instructional coach, they had to be based in English language arts.
So how many numbers are eligible?
Total teachers? I have 250, you have 200 and?
Around 300, close to 300.
So about 550 or so?
Almost half.
Almost half, which is a pretty good number considering.
Yeah, to be a math flat, that's not too bad. I would say I'm on the celebrate, but that's not too shabby.
So then for, this was our, this is a summary, sorry, of Rubric 2. And so this shows HMH as our top choice. It was relatively close between HMH and Pearson, but our Curriculum Resource Committee believes HMH to offer the best product for our teachers and students. To generate these scores, we assigned point values, so numerical values, to each of the reviewers' responses for those 29 components that I mentioned. And so the term evident on our rubric earned 2 points. Each time a reviewer marked something as evident, that was worth 2 points. Somewhat evident was worth 1 point, and not evident and unsure were worth 0 points. So for each resource, we determined the average score of each of the 29 components. So we looked at the components separately first and totaled or created came up with an average score for each one, and then added them up to get the sum of averages for each category, which is the second or third column over. And then the average total score column represents the overall average score for each resource. So 2 was the maximum number for that column. 2 would have been the maximum score.
What's the current one?
What's
the current publisher?
Current publisher is HRW, right? Holt Reinhardt Winston.
For you.
Yes, and for you was HMH
Right.
for elementary.
You got to realize this was 10 years ago when we did an ELA adoption. So in 10 years, publishers have merged, publications have changed. So back there used to be like a Holt McDougall, there used to be the Glencoe, like Glencoe used to be around. A lot of those have changed. But yes, for the K-5, it was an HMH product, and for the upper level was a product that is no longer in existence. It's a merged company.
Thanks. So overall, we felt that HMH was the most authentic and easy to use and supportive. It takes English learners into account in every section of the resource. It provides anchor charts and graphic organizers for every single text. It focuses on building and supporting metacognitive skills. It includes a strong focus on text complexity, which is a key driver in differentiation within our new TEKS. it's also that the focus on text complexity in the resource and explaining text complexity is something that would be helpful, especially for our newer teachers. An issue, I guess the biggest issue that we noted as far as what we thought might be missing was a lack of enough modeling language or think aloud language for teachers at each piece of the lesson, but that's something that our team felt like as we're going through and determining how to make this resource Harmony specific, that's something that we can address as we're creating guide documents for our teachers. And then that's something that I'll talk about, the kind of documents that we're working on. So we're partnering with both HCDE, Harris County Department of Education, and Learning List to identify and address potential gaps and build out our curriculum documents to align our assessments. And we're working on sample guide documents that will explain to teachers how to implement these, how we want them to implement these resources at Harmony Public Schools. And we plan to use our samples that we create as models for our curriculum teams when they come to replicate this work that are the models, the templates that we've created across grade levels and across all the different units in June when they come to work in the summer. And we are working with Ms. Malloy and her IM team, as well as our reps from HMH to determine the type of package and subscription that will best serve us, and then we'll work on creating a timeline for ordering from there as well. Did you want to add anything to that?
I would just like to add that even going back to the 3 big publishers that we chose, Houghton Mifflin Harcourt had a very good product, a very affordable product for our students and for our budget with Harmony. So going forward, this is going to be a very good, affordable product that we can use, and it's not going to be an expense that we'll have to worry about doing any kind of loans on. I think we're going to be very well as far as our budget and our biennium budget is going to be, it'll be there and we'll be fine.
And then to conclude, I wanted to talk a little bit about our training plans moving forward. So training will be a key for everyone involved with this new adoption. We participated already in an introductory training with Learning List earlier this week. On March 6th, we are working with HMH to train ourselves here in central office. We have scheduled, or we've tentatively scheduled a few dates in April and May to work with consultants from Harris County Department of Education to flesh out our curriculum documents and assist with alignment to assessments. And we have pending dates in the summer for HMH to come and train our curriculum team on the first day that our curriculum team gets together, so that the next 4 days with our teams in the summer are as productive as possible, because they've already learned how to use the resource, and that's especially important for the online features. And then in July, again pending, our plan is to have HMH come and train our instructional coaches, who would then train teachers in August. And at that point, the different districts can schedule additional face-to-face or webinar training based on individual needs. Okay.
Did we get any student feedback?
Student feedback, no.
We didn't
did
do
not.
any student feedback. Most of this is based on educated, your teachers, your instructional coaches, your dean of academics. Students probably would not be the most reliable for any of that. I do know that our Lubbock campus did do a little bit of resourcing with piloting a little bit to see what they felt would be a great way to go about it, and I did hear some really good feedback with they love it. They like the trade books, the options that we're getting, the kindergartners with the big books. So a lot of it is coming with features that these kids already really like. So I think at the student's point of view, even without their feedback, I think they're really going to like the product, and it's not so different that they're going to be like deer in the headlights. I think they're really going to like what's coming.
So, especially for students, so we need their input.
I'm sorry?
We need student input.
No, you don't have to have student input for any of your adoption committees, mainly your educated resources.
I'm saying we need that input. I'm not saying we have to, but that is important.
Okay.
Especially for the online portion. So did you get any input for the online portion of the?
We did with the one campus, we did get some of the online where they were able to go into the brand new platform that has been totally redesigned, and the friendliness, as far as user friendliness, was very agreeable. They all liked that. That, you know, Hope Mifflin Harcourt did put a lot of educational resources to fix the platform and make it much more user friendly and give us the single sign-on feature. So that is one thing that we were giving them, was that ability, and they did like that. Especially from a kid's point of view, being able to do a single sign-on and not have to remember 20 passwords, that makes it a lot easier for them. So we did get a little bit of input with the online features, we did.
And I wanted to just add them, they've embedded highly engaging videos for different ages of students throughout the online resource that teachers can push out to students to watch at the beginning of a text or at the beginning of a unit. I'm pretty critical of videos, especially from publishing companies, because a lot of times they're very cheesy, they're overdone. It's made by an adult that thinks a student is that's going to resonate with a student, but in fact the students are all kind of snickering in the class, like at how silly the actors are being in the videos. I didn't get that feeling at all with the videos that I previewed for secondary, and I looked at videos for 6th, 7th, 7th, and 8th grade, all of the middle school grade levels.
I would like to add as well that currently our kids K2 are using the iRead, which is a component of the publisher, and they have been using it for 2 years, and for the new adoption it's part of the whole package. So our kids have been using it.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Yes.
So my question is, what I thought I heard was the last time we did an adoption was 10 years ago, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So with this new adoption that we're looking at right now, what sort of mechanism is in place to look at a future adoption? Is there some sort of timeline that we'll come back and review it? And correlating with some of the questions that are being asked, is there some sort of a vehicle or mechanism to incorporate student feedback as we go part of that study that will lead towards a new adoption in the future?
What do you?
I think, honestly, 8 years is ideal for any adoption. Usually they go 8 years. For whatever reason, the state pushed this back for a couple of years, probably to give these publishers a little more time. But 8 years, because we're already so well advanced with single sign-ons, with trade books, with novels, it should flow very easy into the next ELA adoption, where we don't have going from a very basal product, like what you're seeing in front of you, just a book, to now we've incorporated online features. Most of these kids are pretty well relaxed in it now because they do it every day with all of the other programs that we're using with math and science. So I think that right there is going to help them a lot, where they'll be able to user-friendly right there ready for them. And moving 8 years from now, I don't think it's going to be hard for them to flow into it. 8 years from now, there might be a few changes, but we're pretty standardized on what we're expecting in ELA now. I mean, we're updating our TEKS next year. We're updating all of our books, all of our reading programs. So I think we're going to be there for a little while, and I don't think there's going to be a problem 8 years from now.
Okay, so at the risk of seeming a little bit persistent,
oh no,
but appreciating what you're saying, I think the component that needs not to be overlooked is actually student feedback. And so what I'm saying is, whether it be another 10 years, another 8 years, you know, in terms of what this will look like going forward, and in terms of all the things that Harmony does very well, from what we've seen in terms of when we go to the academic committee meetings, that becomes an integral component that has always allowed us to be ahead of the food chain, if you will, in terms of how we do things. That sort of leads into being responsive as well, and articulate in terms of addressing the kids' needs. You can see, it's so important that a child be valued in terms of their input and their feedback, and we sort of be able to tune our fidelity to that. You understand?
Absolutely.
So with absolute respect for, you know, looking at a video and this is what appeals to me.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I need to see what that child thinks.
Right.
In terms of collective feedback going forward. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And one thing I'll add is that I know that HMH did product test this with students in other parts of the state as they were preparing the resource, but HMH doesn't know our kids, right? They don't know Harmony kids specifically, but our teachers do. And so our teachers they are our curriculum team. No one is on our curriculum team who is not actively in the classroom with students every day, and they're the people who are going to be looking at this resource and advising us on how we need to create guide documents for Harmony teachers to use this resource. So we're not getting this resource and putting it in the hands of teachers and saying open to page 1 and push play. I'll see you in testing time. We are combing through the resource to determine which pieces of it we're wanting to highlight, which pieces of it we're wanting to circle back to. And we don't know exactly what that looks like yet because we're getting together with our teams in the coming months, but that's the focus for us.
So you just answered part of the question.
Yeah. Okay, good.
Right,
Yes.
yeah,
Our teachers.
Because within this is about teacher interaction with the kids.
Right.
So that just came out, and that's what we're listening for.
And every year we do a curriculum revision in the summer, and every year we polish our curriculum with teachers' feedback and students' feedback the whole year.
How much does it cost every time we do an adoption?
Well, to kind of go backwards on our previous adoptions, so when we did the math adoption in 2014, we were looking at $6.5 million. When we did the loan adoption a few years back, it was about $3.5 million. That's the average cost of what you're looking at per student for all of your resources. I'm anticipating, based on the product packages that I've seen, it's actually a lot lower than I was guesstimating. I was roughly estimating $6 million. But once I talked to the vendor and I explained to them what our budgets look like and what we still need for our students, and we want everything that we can get for them, we're looking at about $24.97 per student. So that is their online, that's all their consumables, that's getting them all the novels that they need, the trade books, and you have to realize the online version is key because they're going to be exposed to just thousands and thousands of titles. But then they're also getting the print books and their consumables, the writer's workshop, everything. So at $24.97 per student, that's not a bad price to get all of our students what they need. So that's what we're looking at, and we're just doing K-8 right now, so we're not even talking about 9-12, but we're looking for the K-8.
One thing I'd like to add is usually when we commit to a program, before we commit to a program, we choose certain campuses, we do pilots, we get student feedback, teacher feedback. But with adoptions, I believe there were some limitations where the publishers were not able to contact schools directly. So it had to be a fair game. We were not really able to pilot it the way we wanted. So I believe those limitations probably did not allow us to do more.
Right, we had to do a closed district, which means that it keeps us where there's no conflicts, where their vendors aren't reaching out to people in our campuses and saying, hey, if you choose our product, I'll give you a free, trip to Tahoe this weekend, if you know what I mean. So we had to close that so none of that would happen and there would not be any conflict of interest. And that means that every vendor got a chance. So when they chose the final product, nobody can come back and say, but wait a minute, you gave free trips to Tahoe over Lubbock, so that's not fair. That's why we did it that way. That way the choice is fair and there's no conflict.
Thank you. Thank you for this presentation. We were also very impressed with the trueness and how rigorous the process was collecting the feedback. And you already answered, but I guess like Ms. Bell said, part of getting the student feedback, not the input, but the feedback is through the teachers, not only before, but after every summer you have this program, so they will tell you that whether or not the student liked it or not. We don't have to every time ask them directly, but this will be a valuable information that you collect through your teachers and department coordinators and staff like that. So I appreciate all this presentation. I don't think we have any more questions, but we can have a motion. We need a
Is there anything, ladies, that you want to add to as far as your investment with Harmony?
I'd just like to say, when HMH developed this program, we really took the students and teachers teacher's perspective in mind. You know, this wasn't, let's throw out a whole bunch of resources with, you know, some big names. We actually went to Texas teachers and we piloted this in multiple classrooms, and we really, really took Texas teachers to heart in their feedback. And so that's something we really want you guys to know. Also, this isn't just like a 1 year you're going to adopt our product and move on. We invest in you guys just like you invest in us. So that's something to really take into account. You know, we're not here to give you a getting started PD and walk out the door. We're here for the long run. So I want you guys to know that. That's very important to us.
Yes, Dr. Bush, you have a question? Okay. Oh, yes, an approval. This was also reviewed in the academic committee, but here, this time we have to approve it so that it can be adopted. As presented. Okay. You, should we, I mean, I think it's incorporated the name of the publisher. We don't have to repeat the name of the publisher. Is this just, this motion will be good enough, maybe?
To approve the adoption as recommended.
As recommended, okay. Okay, so the motion is approving the adoption as recommended. Second. Right, seconded. So everyone in favor of approving this motion, say aye. 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 They're approved. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You can keep the books.
Alright, so our next item is consider approval and review of the minutes and of the academic committee meeting on February 8, 2019.
Good afternoon, board members. Our academic committee met on February 8, 2019. We had 3 agenda items. The first one was a continuation item from the previous meeting. It's the Harmony Response to Intervention, the RTI model. In this second phase, we talked about how we identify students for our intervention model. As you know, Tier 1 students are all students, and they may have gaps in their standards or skills, but the Tier 2 and Tier 3 are the ones that we really focus on. We do administer the NWA MAP test, which is a norm reference test, and we do have benchmark assessments and mock STAR assessments. Based on those data, we identify Tier 2 students. These are students who are close to passing the state test. So they do get either during the lab times, small group interventions, or we also have some pullouts for them. We also have a Tier 3 group. These students are usually 1 grade or 2 grades level below their peers, and they do get intervened by the interventionists. They get tutoring. And this group is the group that we really focus on so that we can close their gaps quickly and they can be at their grade level. So the system allows us to have focused interventions, not just getting students in a room and tutoring them in a whole group method, more targeted where students needed, where students missed, and just making sure that we make the most out of the time, and also we make sure that the students progress quickly. The second item was the approval of high school handbook. We had a very few items that needed to be updated for the 2019-20 school year. The first one is about the Project Lead the Way courses. As you know, Project Lead the Way courses do also have end-of-year exams that are called end-of-course assessments. And based on those, right now, several universities and colleges are awarding credit. So PLTW courses are equivalent of AP courses and dual courses. So the proposal was starting with the class of 2023, freshmen will start getting AP and dual credit weight. So this is something that will start with the freshmen that are going to be the 2019-20 school year freshmen. The two other updates were about more access to our special education and 504 students. These two were required by the state. Students with disabilities are allowed the same opportunity to participate in honors, pre-AP and AP classes as their non-disabled peers, and similar eligibility criteria would apply, and these students would be able to get accommodations in these advanced classes. Also, how do students qualify for dual credit section? We added students with disabilities will be assisted by Campus Section 504, Special Education Coordinator and Dual Credit Coordinator with the process for requesting academic adjustments and accommodations in dual credit courses taken at post-secondary institutions. So both of these latter two will allow more access and opportunities for our special education students. So these two have been also added to our high school handbook. The last item was the preliminary report on the English Language Arts textbook adoption. The team presented a report, and the academic committee referred the group to this meeting, and we've already heard their presentation. So those were the items on the February 8, 2019 academic committee meeting.
It was a very nice meeting.
Yes.
Nice discussions.
Definitely. Exactly.
I asked a lot of questions in that meeting.
Yeah, it's reflected in the minutes. You asked me questions. You asked too many questions. No. Somebody who wanted to be there was it. That was perfect. Okay. But there is the minutes reflect all the questions. So the problem with that is we don't have any questions. This time. But it was a very informative meeting. I agree. All right, then we need a motion to approve.
I make a motion for approval and ratification of the minutes and all the actions of the academic committee on February 8, 2019.
Umbrella. All right, everyone in favor of approving the motion say aye. Aye. They're approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
So our next item is approval and notification of extension to the notification deadline for the returning students as required under the HPS admission policy.
So this is in regards to our re-enrollment deadline, which was approved by our board every year. And due to technical difficulty, we had to extend it for another week. And I had a conversation with the chair about that. So we had to bring it back to your attention and we know that we had to extend it. So that's what it is about.
Due to Skyward difficulties, technology difficulties.
So some of our parents were not given an opportunity to submit the enrollment form in time and fashion. That was my problem. That's it.
All right, yeah, I was informed and then we have to bring it to the board attention. So we need a approval, we need a motion to approve this item.
I make a motion to approve the ratification extension to the notification deadline for the returning students as required under the HPS admission policy.
Second. Okay, Ellen seconded. So everyone in favor of approving this motion say aye. Aye. They approved. Thank you, everyone. So our next item is consider approval of board resolutions to submit amendment requests to the PEA to add new campuses for the 2020-2021 academic school year for each of the following 100 homeschool charters. I want to open a new campus in the Dallas-Fort Worth area in 2020-2021 school year under Harvard Science Academy Waco Charter CDN 161-807 to open a new campus in the Houston area in 2020-2021 school year under Harvard Science Academy Charter CDN 101-846 to open a new campus in Katy area in 2020-2021 school year under Harvard School of Science Houston Charter CDN 101-862 and to open a new campus in the El Paso area in 2020-2021 school year under Harvard Science Academy El Paso Charter CDN 071-806.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm here to ask for your approval to submit for expansion amendment to TA to open the 5 new campuses for the 2020-21 school year.
How many?
5. 5. 2 in El Paso. So one in the Fort Worth area, 1 in the Katy, Houston area, 1 in the South Houston area, and then 2 in the El Paso area.
We need to correct the agenda that says to open a new campus. So it should be 2 new campuses.
Yes, there should be 2 new campuses in El Paso.
Can you give us a brief history? Like these are for. Sorry, this was
discussed about in final meeting where we went over the rubrics. And after prior to bringing to your attention, Dr. Rosen, Dr. Ackles, and myself met with each of our area superintendents. Based on the rubric results, we checked to see where we have to grow most. So our team felt comfortable moving forward, and then we brought it to your attention about a year ago. At that time, we didn't have to file the application of the TEA because we didn't know when we were going to go. But right now, we have confirmed the best plan we want to do it. So. But also, we are thinking about relocating one of our campuses. So, in reality, we are opening one campus.
Okay, no, that's separate.
That was a portion of my question or the answer.
Yeah, it was 1 and still 1.
We have 5 new, and one of them is relocation. Other 4 are we splitting the schools or like are they really brand new schools?
These are all brand new schools. Our split process is done. We are able to split all of our K-12 campuses except some of our satellite campuses, Beaumont, and where we do not have many applications at this moment. But these are all brand new markets, brand new facilities.
Mr. Wright, it's, so you did the rubric and it showed that where we need to grow. Were those areas anywhere around something where we could look at combining schools or opening, relocating a school and making it bigger or anything like that?
No.
Let's just look at the Houston, I don't know where that one in Houston's going to be. Is that South District or West?
I think it is going to be south. And also, we have another one in West as well, right? In West is right. So we have to.
And I guess, so just to be transparent to the board, Mr. Wright has been working a lot on the condition of Ingenuity and all the problems that it has in an old building and what's happening in the area where they're going to be building whole bunch of neighborhoods around it. And so the idea was, or the thought is it time that we give up on that campus and move someplace else because it doesn't, there's always constant, problems with the building and it's not getting any better. And it's small, so we really cannot really grow that much.
Now, some of our buildings is not as nice as we like, and some of them are old.
But is there any opportunity for that to go into this to make it one project?
We can look into that, but we also need to find out what is it that we are going to do with those current buildings, because we are already paying for it, and some of our parents are living close by. We have to study how that will affect our long-term enrollment plan. And it looks like our previous recruitment pattern was designed based on where those schools are located. So that may affect our long-term enrollment structure there. I'm happy to look into it, and I don't really have finalized that yet. We can certainly take that into consideration. But there are so many factors involving in site decision, and this can be one of them, certainly. But I need to tell you all that what you see at Ingenuity, and I think it's similar to what you see in some other cities where our buildings, some of them are built by 1980, 1990, so it's not like a brand new campus where everything is designed for school. Those are flex buildings.
Is it possible that instead of looking at new campuses, we look at refurbishing and relocating those that are in that kind of state? I mean, it's just an idea because it's not, I mean, as a parent, it's not an ideal situation, you know, and it's not going to get any better because more and more people are wanting to enroll and we, you know, are in that area with, that's the only location for our charter school and we don't have anything else for high school. So, just tonight.
I think what we're going to do based on your feedback, we can send our team and, you know, evaluate the current condition, get feedback from our local team, understand their needs, and there are things we can do, and then care location. We will try our best to make that happen. If not, we'll consider, you know, moving to somewhere else. But let us look into that. Let us evaluate this stuff.
Because I think Bracewood is the other one too, that you know that we keep flooding and are we going to continue just doing that every
This is what I was going to give you as an example. So we have 300 students active there, and budget-wise it's struggling, but there's also waiting list, people are trying to get in, so we are looking at all of those options. So
let us evaluate and get back to this.
And they look at the available pool of teachers and staff in the school. Is that part of the...
You know, that's part of the conversation. Anytime we talk about expansion, we have operation teams, HR team, academic and finance at the table.
I really had agreed to that. I just
right. Well, we continue to do that because without having, you know, highly qualified teachers, it's very difficult for us to replicate our own.
Okay. So realistically, if you guys are going to look into that, would it be a fair request to ask when we can expect an answer on that?
For just one campus in Unity, I think we should be able to get back to the next month, right? But it should not take long time.
But if there's others in other cities, which I don't have time to go over there and check them out, you know, if we know about them, I mean, I think we need to give them the same attention, I mean, or thought about it.
I think funding is a primary driver here. You know, we can combine buildings, we can move it somewhere else, have something.
Well, I mean, like, we were thinking about Bracewood, shutting that down, and then we got the Ingenuity. It could be something that we look at combining middle school and high school, and we get something in space. You know, even if it's not right there where we are now, I think, I mean, parents are willing to travel a little bit. I mean, Missouri City, South Main, you know, there's a lot of land. I don't know how cheap it is, but
I think what we can do, we can look at it from a HR perspective, we can look at the land availability, you know, where students are coming from, if we are to do that, how much this will cost, and how it's going to affect our finance. We can prepare a good report.
It's very expensive, I mean, where we are right now, you know that. There's no way we're going to expand.
just to let you know that we don't turn down those requests. So specific example in Lubbock, right? We struggle with the finances a little bit there and the enrollment too. So they requested to move that campus to former technical college building, which was vacated 2 years ago. But there's like $5 million difference. So we told them if you guys can get the price to $4 million, we can purchase that building and pay the same amount of money that they are paying already. And we can make those kind of moves. So we are looking at all the options like budget, staffing. So we can bring in more detail in the next board meeting.
What type of plans do we have for the buildings that the lease expires in 2 years, 3 years? Do we have such a plan like 2 years later this building will expire, so we should do these investigations?
We already started negotiating with the landlords for 2020. So we started 2 years earlier. So we are telling them that if we don't get into a good deal, we will build up our own building. So it is giving us good leverage right now to build it. So specific example is the School of Excellence in North. So We have been there for 12 years. We invested $4 million already into the building. So now we are asking them to give us a right price so that we can purchase and then make our investment instead of paying rent. So
That might be a good time to decide those type of decisions, like, either like the houses or something.
We usually initiate conversation 2 years prior to our lease expiry, so we will have ample time to build anything in case something goes wrong.
Thank you.
And these are related to the academic year that follows the next year.
Yes,
This is
yes.
the next year.
fall of 2020.
2020, 2021.
What's their deadline, TA's deadline to submit these? I mean, can there be any addition, like, if we say, oh, we want to do one more?
TA opens the window from February 1st to April the 1st for expansion amendments.
so-
And yeah, those are the time
But April 1st is the deadline, so
you don't have a month,
so.
Yes,
There might be another item
You're
next.
gonna sneak it in. I got it,
All right, any other input, feedback, question, comments? So we decided, or we requested that the administration will bring us some updates about the specifically Duke campus and maybe other campuses that might fall into this category in a short term, and then I'm sure there will be midterm and long-term planning also, which there might be, like you said, for the loan.
Right.
Right. So from your description, I understand the negotiation, we are in negotiation phase, they're trying to lower it.
Right.
So if that happens, we they're going to move to newer building.
We are building a different.
So, yeah, these are, okay. So, but do you need the approval for this so that the amendment and everything starts? That we start planning?
We have submitted resolutions, so like for these new camps.
All right, so we need a motion that.
So I make a motion for approval of board resolutions to submit the extension and request to TDA academic campus for the 2020-2021 academic school year as presented.
Second. All right, seconded. Everyone in favor of approving this motion, say aye. Aye. They are approved. Thank you.
Thank you.
So much. Appreciate it. All right, the last item is consider approval and ratification of the minutes and of the actions of the governance committee meeting on February 8, 2019. Okay, yeah, it was,
It was not uploaded, so we can share it afterwards.
so there's a error that it wasn't uploaded, but it was really short, like it's one sentence, supposed to be 1 or 2 sentences, it's one sentence anyway. So we met, Dr. Koch, myself, and Mr. I, and as planned, as we updated you before, we started doing over the bylaws, and just to brief kind of summary, in the last semester, Mary and I met and we went over some of the proposed changes by her and to kind of reflect our practices and to make some of the administration issues kind of more smooth. And also, me and Mr. I met once about those changes. So now the governance committee is taking this work, and we started, but it's taken longer than we expected, so we haven't finished. So as we all discussed, if you remember a couple months ago, once we have a draft type of thing with the changes proposed, we're going to receive this well advanced, not like this, like a day before, 3 days before, but well advanced, those changes, so that you'll have time and to go through it, and then we'll approve it. But I think March meeting, maybe we'll bring it to April meeting, by April meeting. So, but we just went through those changes, but we haven't even finished discussing the first round. That's the update, that's what we did.
So should we table this item or just?
No, it is there. Just there's a technical problem. It was uploaded. Mr. Lambert can email it to you right away. It's just not there. It is not in board option.
Well, we can table it. This was the last month.
Yeah, there are no actions that
There are
they
no
took,
actions.
right? So it's just approving the minutes. So if
Minutes.
they didn't see the minutes, so then they can just approve the minutes.
Next.
Okay.
Next week that day.
All right. So yeah. Okay.
So I make a motion to table this item.
Anybody second? I second. All right. So anyone in favor of tabling the item 70? Say aye. Aye. It's tabled for the next meeting.
And before we go to the next item, so I would like to thank you, Mary. And if you could have a report on changes by us, thank you.
Was there a decision made on when we're gonna meet? For the 2 days?
Yeah. Let's talk. Yeah.
I mean, it's already gonna be March.
There's a proposal date. Carl is not here. Mr. I is going to talk to us. But let's finish the meeting. You're talking about the training, right? Okay, correctly. Just update us on the date and, technically it's not in the agenda. So, all right, so the last item is, we need a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Doing this meeting,
Second.
All right, second. So, everyone in favor of adjourn the meeting, say aye. 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 Meeting adjourned, everyone. It is 2:46 p.m.
Oh.
Well,